We're above, across the actual heavens and beyond the skies above. It's a whole new world out there with all these clouds and nice bright sunny weather, but in addition with some grey clouds once in a while. So, hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Sonic Lost World for the Nintendo Wii U/PC. So yes, last time we actually did completely done with the rest of these stages of Silent Forest, in addition with once again obtaining every single of those red star rings, of course. We also managed to get ourselves the glorious red Chaos Emerald right there. And today for this video is the fact that we're about to be continuing on and exploring through the next whole new world, which is Sky Road, which appears to be the Sky World from, from the new Super Mario Bros. Games, basically. See, Fernando, let's get this thing to it with Sky Road Zone Act 1. Now, if I remember correctly, this appears to be a combination of somewhat of the Sky World from the new Super Mario Bros. Games. In addition with that, it's also a combination at the same time as the Windy Hill Zone, because if you can tell that some of these set pieces have been heavily borrowed from from Windy Hill Zone. So that's as far as I can most likely say about this level there, as you can see right there. But until the later levels as it is, that we might actually see something slightly different to the table, but until later on though, as it is. So even though, and this is where the red rings will start able to actually get really difficult, especially notable that if you used to where the red star rings were supposed to be placed, then I'm sure enough most people seem to have no troubles whatsoever. But again, for the first time playing this particular game, especially noticeable if you're really trying to go after every single of those red star rings. By the way, when it comes to the skydiving sequence, one thing I forgot to show you guys about something is that if you wait long enough, Sonic was so impatient whenever you're trying to able to dive straight down to the other planetoids or anything like that. So I thought it was kind of interesting, especially noticeable without the fact that it also does that on Sonic Forces as well. So just keep that in mind, just want to keep things up. So anyways, here we go on to this part right there. We need to take down every single of those giant Mecha Caterpillars. If you're familiar with these guys ever since in Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, whenever you're trying to able to rescue the Flickies and all that stuff, but except unlike any forms of how it does it on Flicky's Island from Sonic 3D, is the fact that you don't have to, well, you still need to collect those Flickies most of the time, but thankfully though, you don't have to look after them until you reach to the very end of the level, unless there is no, warp rings and stuff like that. So, you probably get the idea for that little solutions I can think of. So, yeah, today's day is the forms of the 12th of June today. So in this case, today's day is the day number 2 of Nintendo Treehouse Live, videos and all that stuff. But again, I don't think I can able to actually mention more details about that specific stuff from now on though, until when me and Pinkie Pie will come back onto Super Mario Party and during at some point in this weekend, potentially, because I promised you guys about the fact that for waiting so much longer when it comes to going back into, for some more Super Mario Party action, at least ever since, I think, safe to say, the last time we did manage to get done some recording sessions on Super Mario Party, and that was at the very end of May. So even then, although I may be wrong, but I'm guessing it might be true, because even then though, because, when Piglet has recently finished up with his entire Let's Play of Super Mario Galaxy / Super Luigi Galaxy, I think it's about time to able to actually just finally get back onto Super Mario Party, and then afterwards though, well, Mario needs to get back onto the forms of Super Mario Odyssey until when some things will happen. So yeah, you probably get the idea for that. Oh god, that was close. Because yeah, this particular red star ring always gives me some trouble, because even though you have to be so precise with this, the parkour, running up the wall system, which again has something to do with dual die situations, which again, you only have one shot to do this though, because every time you actually die, although there's one thing I forgot to mention about this potentially, is the fact that every time you die several times, although I think I've already mentioned about this before, ever since back in the likes of the past few videos ago, that there was actually a super guide item, which if you're familiar with the game called Super Mario 3D Land, where basically every time you die on that game, 5 times potentially, as well as 10 times if you manage to die several times on Super Mario 3D Land, that if you die like 5 times on that game, well, it gives you ability to able to have a the white Tanuki suit, which allows you to able to become invincible for this whole time, and especially noticeable with how the fact that, well, you can able to actually just well, usually you can able to actually just breeze for the actual level when you're invincible and stuff like that. So, but there's also another item which is the forms of the assist blocks, which is the P-Wing, which that way it allows you to able to actually skip the whole chunks of the actual level. But the only time you can able to actually get skip though is obviously the star medals, and especially noticeable with some secret areas and all that stuff, so that's potential as far as I'm aware. However, though, there is actually a assist item whenever you keep on dying multiple times on this game, potentially. That item is the forms of something as more accurately a wing capsule, which is kind of like the same thing for how it does it as a P-Wing from Super Mario 3D Land, where basically every time you actually use that item, well, you can able to actually bypass it incredibly. And what that thing can do is the fact that this allows you to able to skip the, let's just say one section on that particular level and just jump straight into the actual checkpoint. So I think that's why I can really think about this for the time's sake, because even then, I'm probably not going to show that off, honestly, though, because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty need to go after the forms of the every single red star rings you see right there, which I'm still carry on doing even to this day, because, well, you know, you probably get the idea to see how much of a, well, usually my only major gripes with the game, though, is the fact that, well, I think the 100% completion, especially noticeable when you're trying to collect every single of those red star rings, will have to be my major gripe with the game, because, holy crap, it just gives you a lot of trial and error, you see right there, because even then, until the later levels, specifically whenever we get to, the 7th zone after this, so, yeah, you guys should know what I'm talking about here, so even then, and I think this might actually be the last part of the level, because, well, you know, you get the idea. So, another thing I want to point things out right away is the fact that if you ever played Sky Road on the 3DS version, rather than just takes you onto the forms of... Ah, that was really stinks. Anyways, though, yeah, the fact that I was pretty much going all the way back here, screw you. Anyways, though, so yeah, one thing I forgot to mention about this turtle mini-fight is the fact that in order to actually damage this turtle, well, basically, we need to able to actually reflect the actual missile projectile back at him. So, you all you have to do is like 3 times, though, so luckily, though, there's no 10 hit count, or in this case, like 20 hits count, so it's just only about 5 hits. So, that's as far as I can say about it here, but keep that in mind, you need to be fast, especially on this 3rd and final phase, is because, well, if you manage to leave there for quite a long time, then obviously the missile will burst into flames, and, you know, you might as well be able to get hit by that, flames a lot. So, that's the only thing you need to worry about this particular part, though. So, what I found is really kind of stinks about this is that, obviously, there was no checkpoint if you go onto the autopilot sequence right there. So, you probably get the gist of it, though. So, anyways, though, when you start the Sky Road level on the 3DS version, rather than just actually taking you to the forms of somewhere across the skies, although it's slightly similar to that, but it does take you to the forms of the Casino Vibe level. So, that's as far as I can most like. Son of a biscuit! Oh, God, I forgot about the chains of enemies right there. Oh, Jesus Christ. I have no idea what do I start with this. Oh, well, we'll try this again, and hopefully for 3rd time's a charm, because I'm getting so sick of the forms of trial and error situations, especially with, you know, when you're trying to grab these red star rings. You know I'm still complaining about that system. Usually I understand I understand that they're just for the sake of the actual unlockable system, but I just wish if the next Sonic game will, although I understand for the replayability, which I don't mind the red star rings too much, but whenever you're trying to do with, like, some different aspects about the any kind of level that you always trying to be forced to deal with, oh my god, it just gives me so much trouble sometimes. But anyways, and I'm quite surprised about this actually, because even then, yeah, we're actually getting quite close towards the end of this game already, because even then, I'm very shocked about this, is the fact that unlike the 3DS version of Sonic Lost World, that usually the majority of the levels can really drag on. Whilst in this, it's not too bad of a length. I will say is that between the PC version and the Wii U version, the level lengths are very alright. So even though some levels are somewhat hit and miss, But apart from that though, most of the levels of this game doesn't nearly drag on as the forms of how it does it on the 3DS version. At least, you guys should know what I'm talking about, but that's just me.
If we don't find your friend, can I be your sidekick?
What? Shut up! What kind of question is that?
I didn't mean anything by it. I just thought it might be better to work for you than Eggman.
Hello, I'm sitting right here, you know.
Orbot, no matter what happens, I won't fail again. I will save Tails.
It's stuff like that that makes me want to be your sidekick. Tails is lucky.
Seriously, I'm right here. I can still hear you.
Which, technically, we've already did, since the forms of the circus tents, basically, Orbot, so why are you questioning me that? But I digress. So, yeah, that does it for Zone 1, and now let's move on to Sky Road Zone Act 2, but before we do that, actually, we need to go ahead and head over to Sky Road Circus theme right here, but once again, we have to deal with the seesaw stuff, which, to me, these are my least favorite contraptions still, but even though it's just that I'm pretty much stuck at the forms of those seesaw contraptions on this particular circus tent right there, because I think the easiest contraption of them all is definitely the cannon, because even then, at least you can able to carry, like, either 1 or 2 projectiles, well, usually either Sonic, Tails, or Q-Bars, essentially. Now, you know that 3 balloons that I've managed to got from the past few circuses ago? Well, that might actually brings us to Orbot joins in, so even that I was want to classify for that, so, you know.
Hello, Sonic.
Yeah, I've been looking for you.
And we've been looking for you. Unfortunately, we found your friend Tails first.
Hey, you hurt one hair on his head!
Oh, don't worry. We're actually making him better. He'll be much happier as a robot.
No!
Alrighty then, onwards to the forms of Sky Road Zone Act 2, where basically the entire level is going to take place in 2D, but when we go able to fight against with Zavok, the final of the Deadly Six members, is that, well, oh guys, that was a really terrible start. So yeah, basically in this entire stage, we need to utilize the forms of these little mecha-looking snakes, as you can see right there, which not only can able to actually avoid their attacks and all that stuff, but you can also use them as platforming and stuff. So you can end up, but again, if you really want to go after these returning red rings from Sonic Colors or Sonic Generations and Sonic the Hedgehog for Episode 2, then, well, if you ever not patched the game back in the day in 2013, then you might actually see a lot of game over screens and not a lot less. But again, I don't think that the game's easy because of this though, because you'll lose a lot of those lives fast just trying to pass through one level, but even then, it's pretty unfair for that knowledge right there. So, yeah, you probably get the idea. And eventually, every once in a while, though, is that these snakes will able to actually decide to go ahead and destroy these platforms at the same time. So naturally, we need to worry about those too, just in case we don't occasionally die most of the time in this level. So, and also what makes this, I think to me that this is where the difficulty with the level design in mind, it gets really tricky and difficult, especially when now they added in lasers and all that stuff, which I will say this matters, that much like the fire bars, you know, in the final Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy, and why does my jump button not work? Oh jeez. So anyways though, you remember the forms of Bowser's Galaxy Reactor, the final Galaxy in the Super Mario Galaxy game, not counting the forms of the bonus Galaxy in Grand Finale Galaxy when if you're trying to deal with the Star Festival mission. Basically that, well, how do I describe it? You know that fire bar that is almost nearly towards at the Bullet Bill section in Bowser's Galaxy Reactor? Well, basically, it's really unavoidable sometimes with the actual lasers, I feel like. I don't know, it's probably because I'm pretty much useless when it comes to able to learning some of these patterns going on right there. So I think I might as well able to get adjusted a bit though. So here's the 5th and final red ring, so we just have to wait until these platforms destroyed. But we need to escape very quickly, because otherwise these little robot snakes will decide to able to, what else, destroy everything. So when we reach to the very end, then we can actually have a one-on-one fight against with Zavok, the leader of the Deadly Six, of course. And if you couldn't tell already, is the fact that rather than just having ourselves a little bit of a jazzy Deadly Six theme this time around though, so instead it just cuts straight to the chase, to the second Deadly Six boss battle theme. So, I guess it makes it totally obvious because even then, we pretty much heard that particular first theme already, like, I would say 5 times already. So even then, expecting of such, then yeah. Most new forms of the 3DS version, you only hear that theme 3 times during your likes within the 3DS version. But for some reason, in this particular music theme, as you can tell, basically on the 3DS version, you hear that twice, as opposed to, I would say for about all 6 of them. So, yeah, you probably get the idea for that. So anyways, all you need to do in this particular battle right there, as you can see right there, well, after when you're trying to homing attack onto its tail, this means is the fact that it's your chance to able to actually homing attack onto those little laser spots on the forms of that particular section, as you can see here. But again, with a charged up homing attack at the very beginning will definitely help. And once that's been stunned, then it's your chance to homing attack onto these little lock-on indicators on the actual lasers. And then sometimes I always found myself the actual lock-on indicator it still even doesn't seem to work out as much. So, but even though that can get so much of it. So, is he done yet? Actually, he's not even dead yet. Let me just try this again. So even though you can probably get the idea what I'm talking about with this lock-on indicator doesn't seem to work. Yeah, right there. Sometimes it doesn't seem to work on me properly. And where's Zavok? Can anyone tell me where he is? Hello? Is he around here somewhere? Hello? Are you in here, Zavok? I know you're in here somewhere because I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure he's got 2 hit points. I can swear to God I managed to able to deal with him that way. So, oh no. I realized. I soft-locked. I soft-locked the game! Oh, I'll meet you guys back. Okay, quick error right there. I have no idea what just happened right there, because for whatever reason, after I deal with the second and final hit against with Zavok for the first time, holy crap, I got soft-locked in this battle. Oh, jeez. I have no idea why that happens right there. Let me know in the comments below if you ever encountered that issue before. But for me, that encountered me for like, I would say twice, like one in my own time, and especially noticeable for the sake of this Let's Play. So, hopefully that won't happen again, so even then, no, let's just go say that much until now. And I'm guessing this might be something to do with like, if you manage to knock Zavok, as far as you can tell for this point, and if you manage to hit him as a final blow, I'm assuming that he's pretty much in out of bounds at the moment. So I'm guessing that's why I'm pretty much stuck in this particular section for about a few seconds worth noting for. But seriously, how unbelievable that is. And thankfully, that did work. So, no soft lock, please. Thank you. Oh, jeez. That is pretty unbelievable, I'm telling you guys. Because even then, though, this is something else entirely. Oh, jeez. But at least we're done with this zone out of the way, though, so not sure if the PC version will able to fix this, though, but I don't know. I'm just getting a little bit more shocked by then, because, you know, the soft lock just, you know, just froze on me.
They're gonna turn Tails into a robot! That's horrible!
Oh, I don't know. Being a robot's not so bad.
From where I'm sitting, it is a nightmare. Who thought that putting this bucket brain's head on me was a good idea?
What I did not notice is that Orbot and Cubot are somehow connected to each other somehow. But I'm guessing it's because, well, I'm pretty sure that Cubot's body is malfunctioning or something like that, because that's the reason why about the fact that this detachable thing on its back, well, to be more specifically, Orbot's back, were able to deal with it for now. So, yeah, I think those two were able to actually hold on for a moment there. So, anyways, though, that pretty much does it for the most unexpected soft-locked glitch on that particular boss battle in mind. Now let's move on to Sky Road Zone Act 3, where once again we meet up against with this segment again, but this time around I was actually going to be a little bit more tricky and difficult than the forms of how it does it in Tropical Coast, and by all means by that, take a guess, red star rings of course. And not only that, it's whenever we get to the very end of this level though, we might actually come across into something that's... Bruh, are you for real? I usually got a pretty terrible start due to that little Ortus enemy just managed to go right straight into me, so... Oh jeez, I have no idea why this this day's gone really bizarre for me at this point today because, well, first of all, as I said before, I've come across into a soft-locked glitch, or in this case a soft lock glitch, from that, you know, the South Arc boss fight, if you couldn't tell. And seems I missed that red star ring right from the start, because again, if you want to go back for it, well, if you weren't able to die anyway, though, and especially noticeable if you want to exit out the level, if you accidentally activate the let's just say a P-Wing type of item in a capsule item. So, yeah, it's kind of annoying, honestly, because even then, jeez. But anyways, though, aside from that, though, there's not much else I could really talk about this at this point, apart from the fact that one thing I forgot to mention about this, actually, ever since during the likes of in yesterday's video, with the Sega Mega Drive Classic Mini Console. Apparently, though, they're about to be also releasing, about that time, even though it might not be functional, but it's just for decoration's sake. That will have to be by the forms of the mini versions of the Sega Mega CD and the Sega Mega 32X attachable cartridges or even accessories onto the actual decoration on the Sega Mega Drive Mini, which to me is kind of cool, honestly, even though you also get yourselves the Sonic the Hedgehog 1 cartridge and Sonic & Knuckles cartridge, but again, those two cartridges are not functional whatsoever because these are pre-installed games instead of like you can't able to handle the actual cartridge gaming stuff anymore, so which I think that makes it totally obvious because we're now on HD world, so rather than just becoming like the old school stuff for this point. So yeah, you probably get the idea for that solutions here, so. But I digress, so even then though, I'm pretty sure we're almost nearly towards the end of this level though, but keep that in mind, I think this might be actually be the only level that some people seem to notice that your timer will able to actually start to counting down for like few seconds worth noting for, because one thing I forgot to mention about this since the very beginning of this Let's Play, yes, there is a time limit in each level, meaning that if you're familiar with that particular stuff ever since during the likes of in the Mario games and stuff like that, well, you need to be fast and just don't hold up for too long, because otherwise, if the time's up, well, I can assure to you that you have to restart the entire level again, just saying that much. But look at that, it's that exact same robot again, but this time around though, rather than just actually going underneath him, instead now and then is the fact that we need to able to attack him for about 3 missiles each time whenever you manage to replay the game or start the new game or something like that. So yeah, that's as far as I can say about this guy. It's pretty pathetic though, honestly, because even though not that much of a challenge for my part, whilst for first time players who ever experienced this boss fight, well, they might get themselves a little bit of a struggle at points because, well, you know, you probably get the idea for that. So, anyways, though, so we've unlocked the next circus tent, and I'm presuming we need to get some more flickies or what have you, so that we can unlock the last level of Sky Road. So, now of course we need to deal with once again, the seesaw thingy right there, ever since during the likes of in the very start. So hopefully we can able to get some more flickies from here and there. Now once we're done with all that, then we can able to actually just decide to, although we still need to get some more and during later down the road, so, but it's really impossible to able to actually get the purple balloon from the seesaw parts. I think it's actually way easier on, you know, the cannon, and especially noticeable with, you know, the other contraptions like the trampoline and stuff. But the seesaw is not that easy to me though, because, well, you have to cooperate trying to deal with like 2 people and stuff. But once one player has been off, then obviously there won't be any like, well, you're taking your ghost off. So, but again, on the PC version though, you don't get a chance to play any of these, and I can assure to you that the biggest major differences between the forms of the Wii U version than the likes of how it does it on the PC version is that the number of flickies you need to access to these different levels. So, like for instance, for example, we need to get about 4,000 of those flickies to be able to actually access to this level, and I'm pretty sure on the PC version that you do need to require about 1,700 of those flickies, which I may be wrong, but even then, I just want to classify for the mathematical equation.
It's too late for us, Sonic. Save the world. Kick some butt for all of us. I'm sorry, I never got to say.
Amy! Knuckles!
One by one, your friends are falling. Soon, you will be all alone.
Now, since if you ever play this on the Wii U version / PC version, this cutscene will make perfect sense, because obviously it takes place on this particular location right there, which is usually takes place in a thunderclouds, in addition with those little ancient ruins kind of scenery. But if you ever watch this on the 3DS's quality, even with the 3DS's cutscene of the actual thing, well, apparently the actual arena of fighting against with Zavok, instead of taking place in the forms of the thunderclouds, instead it was the bright, cloudy, sunny day or something like that, which to me makes no sense whatsoever, because that reminds me of something like in some cutscenes that doesn't make sense. Like, for instance, there's also another example that doesn't make that much sense. Whenever you're trying to finish up with the worst level in the 3DS version of Sonic Lost World, and that is Frozen Factory Act 3, where you have to deal with the most tedious level of the whole game, where you have to able to shove the snowballs into the current sections and all that stuff. But once you're done with that level, apparently the cutscene usually takes place after defeating Xena from the nighttime version of that specific Frozen Factory level, which it just doesn't make that much sense, because at least the Wii U version, I understand there's some solutions, but the 3DS version, man, it just doesn't make that much sense for the actual cutscene logic or something like that sometimes, because what the hell I got here right there? Oh jeez. Now of course we meet again with the Rhythm Wisp makes a return ever since in Silent Forest Zone Act 2, but rather than I can able to not activate that because, well, I accidentally died on that somewhat of a similar sequence. If you guys, you probably already played Super Mario Galaxy 2 in one of those galaxies, which is called Slip Sand Galaxy. These particular sequences does remind me of that particular sequences, and same applies for the actual sliding sequence in Tall Trunk, or you know, the Tall Trunk Galaxy for that little big tree galaxy, which I'm sure Duffy will point things out whenever he gets to Super Mario Galaxy 2 at some point next month. So yeah, you probably get the idea. So speaking of which, welcome to the forms of the final act of Sky Road, and obviously this takes place in somewhat of an ancient ruins kind of vibe, even almost like a combination of, well, from specifically Sky World, and especially noticeable with Desert Ruins, because obviously there's going to be tons of sand in this stage. So yeah, that's as far as I can say about it here, but again, it makes perfect sense with the actual cutscene logic, because, well, somehow, I'm pretty sure the actual life of nature is going to be dead by then, but we still need to able to actually stop the machine no matter what though. I'm guessing it's probably something to do with the Deadly Six's plan. So, well, I guess there's no matter of a choice though anyway though, because we still need to stop Zavok before everything else will be too late by then. So, yeah, you probably expect it by that point for this point. So, anyways though, so it looks like that yeah, somehow, yeah, there's not much else to really tell about this at this point. One thing I forgot to mention about this is that every time you actually get into, like, although I think I saw I mentioned about this before, potentially, although I may be wrong, but if you go to, like, Zone Act 2's and Zone Act 4 stages, it depends on what zones you're in, your exception is the final one, which, either way, will point things out by then, and I once again missed that red star ring from over there, just because I have no idea why I just essentially just ignored that. So, anyways though, some Deadly Six members, most notably Zavok, if you can hear on the background, sometimes he decides to able to talk to you whenever you go into that current situation of the actual level, meaning about the fact that, oh jeez, I got hit by those giant cactuses, even though still, it just always reminds me of that one particular section from Super Mario Galaxy 2 Slip Sand Galaxy. So, based whenever we get to that game eventually, until next month as I said before, but you know, you get the idea. Oh, I was too late! I was really hoping I can get my extra life back after, like, you know, getting several deaths worth noting for. So, let's just hoping if we don't able to actually activate the P-Wing capsule, because if I do accidentally, that also means is the fact that I said this before, not only does it able to allow you to able to skip the entire portion of the level, but it's also the fact of the matter is though is the fact that you weren't able to get a chance of missing the actual red ring, as you can see right here. So, which I'm hoping it might not be, because even then though, I've noticed in some Let's Players seem to have some struggles with this sometimes, including back in 2013, which it's no longer there. for the sake of our original Let's Play of this game, because of the actual, like, the quality itself is a little bit jinxed and fuzzy, and especially noticeable, it's a little bit too squished for my liking. So, but thankfully though, with the 2019 counterpart of this Let's Play, it should be a lot more better than the forms of how it does it from before. So, yeah, you probably get the idea. So, anyways though, so I think we're getting quite close towards the end for this point right now. So, hopefully though, without any trial and errors and all that stuff. So, and by the way, we actually stumbled across a somewhat of a throwback to the forms of Sonic Adventure 2. If you're familiar with the Pyramid Cave level, and especially noticeable with the Death Chamber, and heck, even with the forms of Egg Quarters, if I couldn't tell for that point, we have ourselves the returning of those Ghost Hazards, which, just like in the forms of how it does it, oh yeah, and also Pumpkin Hill, and especially noticeable with, I would say Aquatic Mine, from the Knuckles' level. So even then though, we got ourselves the returning ghosts, as I said before. But what makes it a little bit different around here is the fact that obviously they're all in a different color, of course. And second of all, with the actual weird face design, as far as I'm most likely aware of, for the doubt. So anyways, and looks like we've only got about one more red star ring left now, so hopefully we're getting quite close for this point here. And in fact, we actually got all the red star rings in that particular zone now, so now we need to make our way towards the end. And I can assure to you, we can able to face off against with Zavok. At least, to me though, Zavok is easily one of the hardest boss fights in the whole entire game. I understand because he's the toughest out of them all of the Deadly Six boss fights. Well, at least not so much for here, but until later on, I feel like starts to go a little bit more of a rampaging at times, because, well, you see why until whenever we get to the next video, because even then, screw you fire bars, just to able to actually make this unavoidable in some points. So, there we go, Zavok, for the second time. So even then though, what you need to do in this particular battle is very simple. Basically, I suggest you use the kick, then once you deal with a charged up homing attack, just like before, then you were able to deal some damage here. Now, it won't be seen that much of a problem with that challenge, but when it comes towards the end, you need to be so specific on that part, because, well, you'll see why in just a moment whenever we deal with a certain amount of hits on Zavok at least. So, every once in a while, he's now summoning those lasers to able to dodge with. So even then though, as soon as you're able to deal with a charged up homing attack or anything like that, then he starts to able to go all the way to the right and breaking down these little robotic snake parts, as you can see right there. Not exactly sure what these things are called, by the way. And afterwards though, he now decides able to do this, and you might do it vice versa. Now, when you get towards the very end, whenever he gets to lose his balance, specifically like this part right there, charge up the homing attack into the maximum efforts, then you would finish him off immediately. So that's why some people seem to have a lot of struggle with this particular ending portion right there, but for me, I managed to done this on the first attempt. So I know for the fact that in some people out there were able to get a lot of frustration with that boss fight right off the bat, because, well, you're expecting you weren't able to actually just, well, just have a lot of struggles with that. So anyways though, once again we got ourselves all the red star rings of course, and we got ourselves the light blue Chaos Emerald, and I could assume that the silver one will always be the last Chaos Emerald color, and definitely the exact same color order of the Chaos Emeralds, somewhat similar to the forms of how it does it on Sonic Generations, Chaos Emerald's color order. So that seems very interesting, but even then though, despite the fact that in Sonic Forces doesn't utilize the Chaos Emeralds or anything like that, because it usually focuses on the war and all that stuff, because even then though, that we haven't got a single Sonic game that usually focuses on the Chaos Emeralds plot details wise, at least ever since in Sonic Generations and all that stuff. So yeah, you probably get the gist of it though, because you know that in one of the cutscenes in when Sonic, well, Modern Sonic and Classic Sonic managed to able to complete Planet Wisp, specifically both Act 1 and 2, well, they managed to able to achieve the Red Chaos Emerald after doing so. So, yeah, you probably get the idea for that part. So even then though, and it looks like we're not exactly done with this video just yet though, because there was actually that one last level that I wanted able to actually show you guys about this. And as I said this before, about the fact that with the hidden levels, as far as I've already mentioned about this before, there are only about 2 of those hidden levels, which there are one from, obviously from Tropical Coast, and there's also another one in Sky Road, but it's going to be somewhat of a self-explanatory level though. But even then, we'll find things out after we're able to actually finish up farming those flickies just like before, and consecutively, sure enough, we're able to unlock the hidden level in the Sky Road level. So, and hopefully though, without any sort of trial or troublesome at points, well, eventually though anyway. So let's get into the forms of the last level, or in this case, the secret level in Sky Road. So, here we go then. And obviously this game takes place in 2D once again, and look at all these rings and extra lives right there, which at this point I really can't afford to able to get those, you know, those little Sonic cats, because, well, they are very impossible to able to actually get to those though. So even then though, again, as I said before, this stage takes place entirely in 2D, and there's also a good way to able to farm those extra lives, as you can see right there, because there are a lot of rings in this stage, because even then, well, assuming if you keep on dying multiple times, then you would still able to actually keep on going after several extra lives in the future, because even then, that's not to mention that this game is super generous with you with extra lives and all that stuff, because I could definitely see why they always forces you to able to grab the, oh, I forgot the cannon was actually on the left instead of the right. Whoops. But again, it's been such a long time since I actually just explored this stage, but I must admit though right away I do apologize with the lack of skills and stuff. So yeah, you probably get the idea of what I'm talking about. So anyway, yeah, because I could definitely see why that this might be the only level that gives me a lot of extra lives from, because I can definitely see why that about the developers out there might actually feel sorry for the actual casual gamers to be able to have a lot of frustration with the Zavok boss fights. That's one little bit of things we lead to able to actually point things out, because I know for the fact that, well, for the final portion of that fight, because every time you get slowed down, or in this case, if you fall too slow, and if you do the regular homing attack onto Zavok, well, obviously, he will still able to chance to able to, like, get his last standing going. So, yeah, definitely a little bit tricky of a boss fight to me, though, but at least despite the fact that I managed to done this on the first attempt. Until the later portion of the game, until, well, the final world of the game, which I probably will point things out during tomorrow's video, so I must able to mention about that during that time. So, anyways, so let's go and get some more extra lives due to this little, you know, the number rings, as you can see right there. Yeah, because those number rings will do make a comeback on new forms of Sonic Forces, by the way. So even though, except the fact that rather than give you an extra life to begin with, instead it just gives you like an extra life. Why do I just do that? Ah, stupid flower pot. Seriously, it kind of reminds me like a flower pot for some reason, like spewing out those little spiky balls, and especially noticeable that I just can't believe that one of these spike balls is actually placed onto that very, very teeny tiny platform right there. So hopefully we'll try that again, and hopefully though we can able to get some of these extra lives back, including some more in the future, most notably with the forms of ring collecting, and especially noticeable with these little Sonic head icons. So you probably get the idea for that. So anyways, let's go and get that one back. And we reached over about 70 lives at this point, so even though that's actually really good, because even though whenever we get to, like, I would say for this matchup though, I think we got ourselves about like 20 more star rings left, because even then, once we're done with all this red star rings hunting, then we are done for good. For, you know, just for the sake of 100% completing Sonic Lost World entirely though. There are some missions I would like to able to tackle through. Oh, don't you dare, Arbonauts. Thank you. Phew, that was really close, because if I accidentally die by these Arbonauts right there, wow, I need to able to redo the entire level over again, which won't be that good. But I digress. So we're done with that hidden level at long last. So even though, because I died several times on that level occasionally, because, well, Jesus Christ, some of these platforms, they are kind of narrow and skinny at the same time, but either way though, that just feels a little bit of tiny frustration here and there. So anyways though, we got the endings up for this point here, folks. So join me next time on Let's Play Sonic Lost World. It's the fact that we're about to be exploring through the final world in the game, and that is Lava Mountain Zone. So even then though, see you guys next time for that. Later fellas. Oh jeez, it's so hot around here.